let's kill it.
Yeah.
Instead, they built everything around that Stitches.
It was very nicely done. So we're going to move into game number 2, and our map will be Braxis Holedown, a completely different map to that we see in Cursed Hollow. Very interesting.
It is. It's a very interesting map in general, just due to how the mechanics work on it compared to some of the other ones. A lot of people say it can be a map that can lead into snowballs, which, to be fair, both of these teams are very good at. If they're able to establish a lead, it can be quite devastating, and this could be good for Fnatic. The one thing that eStar said in that video that we saw of them earlier is if a team is able to stop their momentum, then they could be in serious trouble, and Fnatic have just shut that momentum down.
Your thoughts going into Braxis?
Well, we had a pretty interesting Braxis holdout game from eStar during the groups.
Yeah.
Was dropping some bombs, quite a few bombs between Nova, Chromie, and the like. But I don't know if we'll see that again from eStar in this game.
All right, draft number 2 here. Currently, Fnatic is 1-0 up against eStar Gaming from China. As we get into Braxis holdout fan, what are you expecting?
So eStar picked this map after they lost the first one on Cursed Hollow, which means that they gave up first pick. They had the option of getting the first pick if they want, which a lot of people think is really strong in this meta. So going on to Braxis, I think that eStar has a specific plan in mind once again. But I'm a little worried about eStar because I think Fnatic is actually a team that is very well versed on Braxis. When we played against Fnatic in the Western Clash, they kind of redefined what it meant to play Braxis to me. I learned so much from them personally. So looking forward to seeing how this shakes out.
I mean, who can forget Wubby's running in circles Zeratul that was so annoying to deal with, and it gave their opponents no opportunity to really control beacons.
Yeah, I feel like that is what truly changed the North American meta, and what you said, Fan, how we changed and approached going on to a Braxis game, not just sitting in a 1-4, and if you win the 4, then you don't necessarily have to win the 1, and if you're losing the 4, you have to win the solo lane. This is a lot more fluid of rotations, and eStar needs to be ready for that because eStar and China in general do sometimes tend toward those more stable, we're just going to sit in our lane heroes like Lieutenant Morales.
They do like the stable in-lane heroes, but that can become diversified a bit into a 3-2 composition a lot of the time. This is something that China have become quite fond of, sometimes with the top lane being one of the favorite combos being Zagara and Sonya together, which is almost impossible to gank. And they are, once again, starting off with building a group up in the bot lane composition, whether that's going to be 3 heroes with Valor, Ariel / another support, or 4 heroes with a tank.
So Fnatic knew that this had to happen eventually in the series. Absolutely, they had to. So what have they come in with in order to approach that is my question. Maybe just the normal standard top tier picks?
Quacknix told me that the plan was to be able to play around the hyper carry Vala.
Okay.
So they know that that is going to be an eventuality, and then try to deny some other comforts. So I think that they'll be trying to deny comforts from the other players because they've already allowed Vala and Ariel through.
Yeah, and looking at this draft right now, there's so many red flags going off in my mind. I do not think eStar is going to be prepared for what Fnatic is going to throw at them. It looks like Fnatic will play exactly how I think Fnatic plays on this map. They're already picking up the hyper-mobile roamers in Genji. They have the Haka for the global lane, and Malf is one of the other heroes that they really like on this map as well, and you can see it in their tournaments past. So if eStar is looking to build into this insane format with the Vala Oriole, I think they're actually in for a really rude surprise.
You can see here that eStar have done at least a little bit of research on Fnatic banning out the Chromie, which Fnatic have brought out several times throughout their career on Braxis holdouts. It's very terrifying where you think you have control of the shrine and then you get chunked for a quarter to half of your health.
D.Va getting banned. Doesn't want any of that wave clear to be occurring if you actually get that full Zerg wave going.
Yeah, self-destruct on the Zerg wave is very terrifying, gives you great beacon control. We actually did discuss during the group stage the option of taking the extra self-destruct so that you have 8 whole seconds of control. But yeah, that is a Stitches coming in for eStar, and that might end up being their main tank if they go for a second support now, like Tassadar.
Yeah, the Holy Trinity is up here, but if you pick Tassadar, you have no follow-up to the Stitches hook, so it's kind of interesting. If Stitches is in your 4-man and you have no follow-up for the hook, I don't think that's that optimal, so...
What are your thoughts on going for the Stitches and the Tassadar and then running with something like a Leoric with Entomb as your solo laner to try and counteract the Dahaka. Then you have the option of Force Wall, Detainment Strikers to follow up, and also the Entomb to try and trap people.
I mean, overall, I think that's a pretty strong composition. It's just weird to me because in your original format, when the Stitches gets the hook, nothing can really happen if you go that route.
That'll also work. Expulsion Zone could be a great follow-up for this.
That means the last pick could be something wild.
Yup.
Realistically.
It could be, but it also needs to be a solo, unless they want to run Stitches in the solo or they have a different laning setup planned than what we are seeing so far. But you would like to have Vala, Ario, and Zarya together to be able to push the lane, whatever lane they're in, together hard.
All right, what do we round things out with for Fnatic? What do you think?
I think Fnatic needs a tank and a damage dealer here, so just whatever they think is best for that. Honestly, for the damage dealer, you want something that can wave clear decently and is survivable. Okay, maybe the Stitches pick is good in that regard, because for the damage dealer pick, you could have picked something like a Gul'dan or a Kael'thas to kind of clear the waves, but Stitches is really good against those heroes. Maybe they'll revert to Li Ming or even something else.
I wonder if they'll get their Sylvanas.
Maybe even the Sylvanas.
Would Li Ming be the right pick, though, into Zarya shields?
I think it's not the best pick, but you gotta consider. Oh, and the Falstad, of course. That's very Fnatic. Love that pick for them, and just the solid stun tank in the Muradin.
This feels a full beacon control style, right?
Yeah.
You've
Double
got
globals, good tanks to stand on the beacons and protect for Genji and Falstad. Malfurion going to be able to stay in the backline, assuming he doesn't get hooked. Two tanks that are very unfortunate to hook. Dahaka can burrow and adapt, and Muradin can be Muradin and just turn around and start hitting you.
So what's the last pick? What do they do? Where's that eStar spice?
Yeah, I mean, the Leoric, as mentioned before, is a pretty good pick here, I think, in terms of what their draft is, but I don't think the Leoric pick here will be enough if they do go for it, so.
What do you think of Alarak?
Alarak could work. I mean, it's a lot more kill pressure. I think Alarak might be a little bit better in terms of just forcing the game open, because right here, eStar really has to force the early game. They have to get a lead fast, and they go with the Ragnaros.
I really thought that was going to be Sonya.
That used to excite me, but now...
I know, you poor thing. You're Ragnaros, you're Fire Lord. Not
He's a
doing
fire
so
wimp
hot.
now.
That's why they've gone for little Ragnaros.
Yeah. So you can cry all the way home. So, Ragnaros comes in as the final pick. Is that enough? It's going to delay if a full Zerg wave comes in, and obviously you do have great wave clear with that, but is that enough to say, yeah, all right, maybe that kind of turned around some of the equalizing here?
I do like the Ragnaros pick in this particular situation, even though I've been against it in most, because, like I said, the Leoric pick, if you just pick that, they're just going to out-global you, and you're eventually going to lose anyways. It seems like eStar has recognized that they are going to lose the Shrine phase, and they're just going to try and turtle up and just, you know, defend the Zerg with the Ragnaros, try and make it to the later game, get the Vala Zarya going, and try and win that way.
You say that, but just in general, rivaling the globals can be difficult.
Yeah, but they don't really need to, like you said, they're not really going to win the Shrine phase with this composition. This is probably the best last pick they could have done with to deal with the Zerg wave, dropping the Molten Core to try and save the forts and the keep.
Yeah. All right, time for predictions. Gilly?
Fnatic looks good in the last game, and they seem like, once again, they have everything at their disposal. They've made a plan. Got to change my vote to Fnatic here.
All right. Techo?
I am also going to... eStar.
eStar.
eStar. I think they have the potential to try and save their forts enough to reach the late game.
Okay.
I mean, it's the master of the globals, you know. We saw last game they did a throwback to BlizzCon 2016 with the Brightwing Falstad. They are really good with globals on this map. Gotta go with Fnatic.
All right, and that is the predictions in. Let's see what chat thinks. Last game was the only one, one of the only ones where the chat was completely right, and you guys were wrong.
Just a subtle burn right there.
Wasn't very subtle, was it? Let's be honest. 83% in favor of Fnatic here, going into game number 2. The Swedish crowd is ready. I hope you're ready at home as well, as we get into game number 2 between Fnatic and eStar.
Fnatic has the momentum. The question is, can they keep it? Because the Chinese team is out for blood now.
They very much are, but my goodness, Fnatic feels like they got everything they could have asked for in this draft. I feel like this is going to be a very difficult task for eStar. But speaking of, they are here in the blue. Jing Shen on Vala. SW is going to be playing Ariel. Lucian on his Stitches. Tiger onto the Zarya. And Savage playing the Ragnaros.
And over to the right side of the map, the Swedish boy band, the Quack Street Boys, with Schwimpy on Genji, Wooby on the Haka, Smexty on Malfurion, Falstad on Quacknix, and Murden played by Breeze. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Fnatic!
Feel the E coming out here for the Zarya for early pressure, not only within structures, but team fights. But I love the draft of Fnatic. I think the double global has so many ways to play this map, but then the Genji Muradin also through cycling of the actual shrines themselves. Like, I feel like Fnatic could make 20 mistakes and still be even in this game before 10.
During the regular season, we saw so many ways how especially the Haka and Falstad were played on Brax's holdout. Dignitas, for example, had a very cool rotation where they would be swapping both of the heroes and using them for big ganks. We saw other teams having both of the globals on a lane and rotate together into a 5-man approach on a lane as well. So Fnatic has a lot of options here. But right now, in the early game, both of the teams decide to first of all just put heavy pressure onto the solo lanes.
And eStar is just colossally pulling ahead when it comes to this race. Thanks again to Feel the Heat and just having the fact that you have the Ariel and the Vala, some of the best seizures here in the game. That does not exist on the side of Fnatic. So a slight advantage here for eStar, but Fnatic should get an even trade just purely off rotation time.
Already a lot of pressure onto the Ragnaros here in the back, especially Breeze wants to make sure that he doesn't get too much damage in. But to the top lane, as you said, eStar, with that pressure, took down the first fort.
So who, in your opinion, does this benefit? Because for me, if this trades one more time, it actually hurts Fnatic colossally. They have the double global, which is a very big redeeming quality, but oftentimes, specifically with the Genji Muradin rotation strategy, talking about that, specifically with that, if you don't have a point to retreat, an area to constantly cycle around, and the vision and map is open, it suddenly seems significantly weaker as a strategy.
I think it comes down to map awareness in particular, because I completely agree with you when it comes to these point of returns. You want to cycle, you want to get kills during the shrine phases. But I think what Fnatic has shown in the past is once they open up the map, they have a lot of control with their globals. The key point is, though, you can't afford to lose heroes with this. Once you make one mistake, it snowballs too fast against you. So it's very risky, but Fnatic, I feel, can play an open map in this case. Wow,
Schwimpy just confidently going over. There goes Quacknix with the flight as well. A lot of damage going on to Zarya, but Tiger with full energy right now. Jing Shen trying to get the DPS, and here we see the value of the Holy Trinity as this looks like an early team fight going in favor of eStar.
Yeah, Schwimpy actually going away from the point as Stitches was standing there giving up the camp because he was hoping to get the kill in the backline and help his team out, but the fight turned quickly against Falstad, who was extremely low, got barely safe. So eStar, with the double support here, is able to get away from the camp, takes it away, and it just steals and puts Fnatic into a pretty awkward spot.
Yeah, and returning back to the thought of opening up the map and how does that affect how Fnatic plays it, I think I really agree that it puts a lot more emphasis onto the double global. It no longer becomes the watch Genji and Muradin skirmish around. It's a little bit of value, but a lot of this comes down to Quacknix and Wubby there on the Dahaka.
Yeah, right now we have once again a fight up at the top, a bit of zoning happening with the roots on the ground. Here comes the goal for Stitches, and he's taken out as Genji gets the reset. Both of the teams currently going towards level 6, but we still have the Chinese team with the wave and the counter kill against Falstad.
Yeah, we saw the damage coming out from Tiger. That high energy, feel the heat he got. It's so very low, and a beautiful flank coming out from Savage, allowing him to be in kill position. So now we find ourselves with eStar not only getting an advantage when or evening up the kills, but 100 Zerg rush to what was nearly 0.
This is a huge problem for Fnatic now, because all of a sudden the momentum really works in eStar's favor. They have a massive, massive Zerg wave at the bot lane. We'll easily get the fort here and will push this towards the wall at the keep as well. Especially with the level 7 that they're now going to pick up thanks to the destruction of the structures.
And this, again, is going to open the map, but only in favor of now eStar, making, again, the pressure increasing here onto those globals. We saw one time a play happen. It worked out perfectly here for Fnatic. Others, it seems to be struggling, but now we see the Holy Trinity. And, you know, Stitches is actually a really intimidating sieging hero just because of Hook. Right, the minute this wall drops, expect hook potential. It makes your positioning that much more difficult when you're sieging on the side of Fnatic.
Especially Malfurion and False have to be very, very careful here. But once again, we see Fnatic moving forward, trying to zone a bit. Here comes that hook, though.
Breeze?
And immediately Breeze going into the backline, trying to force the fight here. The Haka goes into,
Tiger?
looking for the Tong. They get it, and they get the kill.
They end up getting the kill, and now they want more. The Holy Trinity, the drag onto Ardio, that is the best kill target. One more heal out of SW, the detainment strike, but Schwimpy is looking to pop off.
Shrimpy with the resets, kill after kill, as we see Fnatic moving and getting the triple and looking for the fourth.
Though now Fnatic, they have ended up hitting the pause button for a moment. A flight incoming? And once again, you know, Quacknix is pretty good at playing janitor here on that false stat.
Yeah, he goes in deep and gets the kill eventually. And that's another staggered death. It could actually not be more perfect for them. And in the meantime, with the help of Genji, who is just so good on this map against the boss, they're going into the middle to secure themselves an advantage.
Yeah, that is core to note that that play is not possible if it wasn't for Schwimpy there onto the Genji. It suddenly makes your boss time cut, it's more than half. It just seems to be non-existent really here. So now we see Fnatic, a small window where they bite off a lot because they totally understand their composition. But now they need to get the rebuttal here once more against eStar.
They're starting to take the camps. The Haka in the meantime is still at the bot lane. He can once again just wait in the shadow for the next wave to appear, take that down, get the experience, and work towards level 10. They need the heroic abilities here. They want that time window so they can use it once the next beacon phase spawns.
The pressure that eStar has managed to have onto the map for now, you can see they're questioning where they belong, just due to the lack of vision that they have in the members of Fnatic. Lucian, he finds the Schwimpy, not necessarily the target you want to find purely off of mobility, but you can see a bit of the value of, and you know, the reason we see China with such high priority on the Stitches, that damage output, even into a Genji, it's a hard trade for him.
Yeah, Schwimpy gets away, but he takes quite a lot of damage. You're absolutely right. Fnatic, on the other hand, now, with the timing on their camp, and we have the beacons activating, the level 10 is there. It's a small window, but with the help of the globals, they might be able to exploit it.
On the Dahaka, we see isolation has been the choice. So whether or not that it's going to be used to focus down a target while they're silenced, it's going to have to be onto the Ariel or the Zarya, excuse me, specifically. Now eStar, they have their heroics available, and we have ourselves the Braxis holdout shrines up in 1 second. I am ready for this.
Yeah, I definitely am as well. 10 versus 10, heroic abilities. Both of the teams looking for an angle here. And Fnatic, they have the advantage of the globals, but we still haven't all of the heroic abilities picked for the Chinese team. Bile coming out on the side of Stitches, but Vala and Zarya without their abilities taken just yet.
It's going to be the expulsion zone, so everything is sticking according to plan. No surprises here so far, and Vala both are viable, so I'm going to say overall eStar sticking to the norm. But Fnatic,
I like this.
The double global play, that's what we were talking about. When the map opens, it is on the responsibility of both Wubby and Quacknix to manipulate eStar's rotation, and finally we see that come online.
eStar needs to now send a response to the bot lane, and they do that in the form of Ragnaros. But of course, the transition time is so much faster for Fnatic. They can go to the top and force the fight, and that's what they're looking to do. Here comes the Haka. He's looking for the Tong, but the detainment strike pushes him back, using isolation already as Quacknix is getting the gust, and that is the kill against Stitches.
I absolutely love what Fnatic was doing. You saw the globals on bottom for a long while, but Quacknix constantly just cycling, queuing up his flight, waiting for Wubby to move in. And the second that happens, everyone just shows up, what's up, and gets a pick there onto Lucian. Again, Fnatic's execution seems near flawless.
Fnatic has been known for a long time for their coordination when it comes to the global pressure. Syncing those abilities. They're trying to do it again. Ragnaros whipping the ult here. Fnatic dodging it completely, as once again we are seeing Zarya together with Oriel supporting Vala every step of the way. And Xingzi, the best Vala in the world, is still fighting over that particular beacon, but it is too late as Fnatic takes the wave.
Yeah, the minute that Sulfura Smash went down on the side of eStar, Fnatic knew they could posture up. They could take a bit of damage and ensure this 100 Zerg rush. So now they move in, get the aggression. I like the flank coming out there from Breeze, but what are they going to make happen? Because Lucian dropping the bile just to rid this Zerg rush.
The tables have turned as Fnatic moves in with a Zerg wave. Already a lot of pressure against Stitches. He missed the hook a bit earlier, but the rotation to the top lane as Fnatic decides to not take the 5 versus 5, but take their use on the globals once again to drop the structures at the top lane.
And eStar still has that bottom keep so very low. We have to keep that in mind. If any fight just goes in their favor anywhere near it, they can still open this game up, get a minimum of a keep, and possibly a core. So Fnatic has to tread lightly. They get the invade. Lucian, no bile available for 20. You see Wubby with the flank there. The silence going on to Ariel. SW self-ages this, but that dream!
Absolutely perfect as Ariel falls smaller, dice next. Fnatic goes in for kill after kill. They isolate Stitches, get the triple, and once again, they are looking to push through the bot lane. They have 4 kills already. It's a 5 versus 1 as only Ragnaros attempts to defend the keep.
There's no way he can get the Molten Core out if it is off cooldown at this point in time. He's gonna try.
He's trying.
They got it!
He gets it. They're going to try and burst him down, but is it going to be the kill? Just barely. Breeze surviving, but he's getting taken down, and everybody else is coming back. eStar Gaming with 5 heroes. They get the kill. They move in, and they want more.
Fnatic with a huge misplay. eStar has to punish this. One man is not enough. They need more. They even got to get the drive-by on the camp. Fnatic just setting things up for success. The hook is not there. eStar, that's a kill, but that is not enough against that level lead Fnatic has managed to obtain.
Now, Fnatic casually taking that camp on the retreat, but they really whiffed the attack.
Yes.
It was so telegraphed what Ragnaros would be trying to do that you even said he shouldn't even do it, just because it was so obvious. I mean, kept obvious calls and he wants to stun back. Breeze had to jump in and take him out, and that would have been the end of it. But somehow he gets the Molten Core through, and all of a sudden it's Murden falling, and eStar takes the fight against Fnatic, what should have been 100% keep.
Yeah, very much so. And now what that does is balance the health of pretty much every structure. eStar slightly ahead with the structural integrity here, but Fnatic is doing so well, not only in those kills, but the experience quickly after. So can eStar win this 13-on-13 fight? It is going to be it's almost a must for them if they're going to win this game.
When it comes to the map control at this point and just the way they rotate and get those isolation kills, Fnatic is miles ahead. They have 10 kills against 2, but they need to be careful because thanks to the keep still being online at the bot lane, eStar Gaming still has that one fight on even talents that they can use. But Fnatic, they're not even looking for that fight right now. They are trying to out-rotate the opponent and maybe catch someone off guard. They need to use those globals now. Breeze is securing the bush as we are seeing Shrimpy on the beacon, dodging the hook, but they will have to retreat here.
And now the members of eStar are only going to return it back into their favor. But as you said, Fnatic has no intent to fight right now. eStar is not forcing their hand. It looks like they changed their mind. Now it's going to pressure out through bottom. This is the smartest choice, but it's going to cost them a Zerg rush up on top.
I like what they're doing here. They are forcing the keep at the bot lane. eStar making a very good choice against Fnatic. They cannot simply sit there and play Fnatic game. What they need to do is really force the issue, and that's what they just did. But it comes at a cost, as you said.
Yeah, and beyond that, the next place that they're going to be able to do that is either number 1, defending against a colossal Zerg rush, or number 2, over a boss. Both of those do not sound optimal into Fnatic's composition, specifically the boss with Genji. It's just too risky of a fight to take.
Fnatic 116. Once they have the talent advantage, they can force eStar's hand. Genji needs to be careful, dashing out. Shrimpy nearly caught by the opponent here as we have the rotation again. Breeze capping the bottom beacon as we see eStar up at the top lane.
Cycling these rotations is all eStar is going to want to do. It's kind of Dragonshire-esque at this point for them. They realize they're going to be down the talent tiers. They just want to know how long can they stall out that 100% Zerg rush on the side of Fnatic, and how close can they get themselves to the same talent tier.
Fnatic setting up the attack. They wait a little bit longer. 16 is all they need, and then they are ready. eStar, they know this. They are trying to take camps before it comes to it. Falstad at the bot lane still. The Haka to the top right. Quarknick's already looking for
Genji's
the fight.
on boss.
They have the 16.
They're just starting the boss stinking it, and they are not going to commit. It doesn't de-aggro, so this is now Fnatic abusing their 16 talent here. Again, the boss is a way to force that fight. It's going to be revealed, but there's no way eStar can do this. There's no way.
Roots on the ground. eStar is trying to contest it. Here comes the gust. They take the boss. The hooks comes in and gets Murden. That's not the target you want. They're jumping in.
That dream
goes out, and Malfurion with a silence.
He hits the silence. You see Quacknix with so much damage, but Genji ends up dying. Auriel, SW healing everyone up, but eStar's health bars are just slowly ticking down. Fnatic is now winning this fight.
Ragnaros and Stitches are down. Auriel alive, but not for much longer. She falls too, and this is the end of Vala. eStar Gaming is wiped of the face of Brax's holdout.
That is it. Now 15-3 when looking at Fnatic's kills. They have that boss pressuring upward. eStar will be down a Zerg Rush that is going to be in the same lane as this boss. There will be no area to Molten Core. This seems like this is Fnatic's moment to win Game 2.
Fnatic is definitely looking to end right now. They have the lead in the best of 5, and this is the optimal scenario to make it a 2-0 lead over their Chinese opponent. They're moving in towards the keep. The Zerg wave is on the way already. Dehaka at the bot lane. Breeze posturing around a little bit. Here comes the Molten Core, though.
The Molten Core is only going to buy a bit of time. The boss is ripping through Savage's health bar. It's only a matter of seconds. Now that is offline. Fnatic is going to look for the big play. Is it the Flight Gust? Is it the hard initiation? But they need a kill. They go for a disengage, saying they only want the keep. They're going to back away.
They look for the keep, they take it down, and they are willing to walk away. But if they can get a kill, that will change their mind. They know they are ahead. They have the 20, or they could get it. But eStar, they know this is one of the few fights on level 16 talents they could possibly get. And they're moving in with Jingzi. But there's the root as Malfurion covers the retreat.
Fnatic is, you see them testing the waters here with the rotations. They're trying to see if they can catch any one of eStar getting greedy. Man, that was so close. Though Fnatic, you saw them with a solid disengage. If that had been even any lesser team, dies there, staggers the death, and eStar comes back. It was smart and patient play now for Fnatic, but it is not over yet. eStar still, again, it has that keep. They have the opportunity to win a game after one fight only.
That's a lot of discipline on the side of Fnatic to retreat in this situation. That is very tempting to make the play for the game. And in the past, that backfired against them several times. They are now playing an extremely disciplined game here and saying, guys, we have such a huge experience lead. Wait for the 20 and fight with it.
I love what eStar's doing. They realize that that window is never going to happen. So how do you force a fight? Top keep is the only area you can do that. It is not. It's not fun when you think about, yeah, that's the only way we can get it, but you realize that is your best fight. Take your win condition, and it's going to start here. What can they make happen? And does Fnatic make the same mistakes they may have had, earlier around these Molten Core plays?
Drag root! Oh, the kill! Smexy with a dream goes in silence and takes down Zarya. 5 versus 4. eStar is looking for the hook, but they don't find it.
The fishing hook not landing, but the drag does, forcing the Aegis root directly after, thanks to Smexy. Breeze not throwing out the Stormbolt, but Schwimpy with that Dragon's Blade trying to get picks. eStar's winning a 5 versus 4! This is what they do!
Dehaka down! Wobby a bit too far out. Fnatic could have just stayed around the keep and defended, but it's a 4 versus 4 again. They still need a bit more experience. Breeze moving in, gets the detainment strike, and once again the hook, and it connects!
It does Dwarf Toss out, so things are fine for now, but eStar, as always throughout this whole tournament, they don't care. They'll take the 5 versus 4, and once again, they get a kill. They have a 30-second advantage. The Molten Core is dropped.
Ragnaros with a core. The ice block. Oh my god.
I almost had a heart attack.
Once again, 20. Here we go. They're moving in again. Entertainment strike. They're trying to go for Jingzi. Vala! Vala! Vala!
They get the pick, and now Ardio, quick to follow. Quacknix flying on in here, and now he is going to seal Savage. Lucian will end up falling as well, and I think now Fnatic has gotten it.
They are moving in for Stitches. They want it. They have the 20. They take the last kill. Only Zarya is still alive. The beacons are alive. Fnatic has everything stacked in their favor now. Tiger trying to delay, going for the beacon. He wants at least the wave, but what can they do here? The core is soon about to fall. We have 20 seconds until we see the next hero back on the side of the Chinese team. It's a one-man defense for eStar Gaming.
Yeah, and with that shield being used, no energy gained by Zarya. She does not have the damage by herself. Xingchen is going to be back in 4 seconds, but the core already below 50%. This is going to be it. Fnatic takes game 2.
GG as Fnatic wins on Brax's holdout and puts the Chinese team back 2 maps. An insane 2-0 lead for the home favorite.
Fnatic put on a very unique strategy. Again, a creative composition and a way to approach the map, and it still seems to have pushed eStar too far out of their comfort zone to truly be able to thrive. And the question is, can they adapt now that they realize that they're one game away from losing this series?
The one thing I really like about this and how the entire series worked so far is that Fnatic is hitting with completely different punches here. They're just changing it up the entire time, and they give eStar very little room to adapt to what's happening.
Exactly, the 1-2 punch, the first, it's coming from a different direction every single time. And we are unable to see eStar adapt at least yet, but I haven't lost faith. I think that 4 versus 5 on top proves that this team can do some things that no one else in the world can, and they very much have an opportunity.
eStar is insane, and they just proved it in the fights. They might have lost the game, but it was still a close call up to the end. And if you at any point get complacent, underestimate them, they will be there to punish you.
They very much will. But either way, we have to see what our analysts have to say about that amazing game. So what do you guys think?
That's right, amazing it was. 2-0 at the moment to Fnatic here as the Swedish crowd cheers them on. But it wasn't without its hurdles. There was definitely glimmers of hope there for eStar.
That game could have gone very differently if Fnatic had not taken the one fight they knew they needed to take, and that was after the first Zerg rush. Fnatic were so far behind, it could have easily been the snowball that everyone fears on a two-lane battleground like Braxis. But the fact that Fnatic were able to get the kills they got, taking the fight behind after the brunt of the Zerg wave had been dealt with, that was huge. That was the start of the comeback in that game for Fnatic.
And Fnatic wouldn't have even been in the position to do that if they hadn't gone for the... Can I talk to you about our Lord and Savior globals?
Yeah.
They were just able to be all over the map. We've seen how dangerous Wobby is on heroes like Dahaka and even Zeratul just due to the mobility and not being able to get the vision of him on the map, as he doesn't show up on the minimap. And they just had the control.
Yeah, I mean, eStar did have a chance to win that game with their first Zerg wave on bottom keep. We saw that they almost took the keep down, but Zarya died at a critical timing from a good play by Fnatic. And after that, the globals turned on, and there was very little eStar could do. They just got outmaneuvered all game, and I have a replay here that shows us. So if we could pause right here. So in this replay, you see Ragnaros is top, and Fnatic, you see their pings. They've narrowed down where eStar could be on the map here. They know that this section of the map they've already explored, and eStar has to be here. More than that, though, they know that Ragnaros is topside, so this is a 5 versus 4. Look at how fast they collapse on eStar. Even though they don't have vision of all the members, they just instantly all invade the bush. They know it's a 5 versus 4. Wobby gets a great flank. Silence on the Oreo is critical. Full bar of energy. He can't cast the heal for 4 seconds. Like, that was absolutely huge. Nothing else the other members could do. Dragon Blade, when your Oreo is silenced and it's a 5 versus 4, just absolutely crushing them via rotation.
They're thinking in tandem with one another, and they were converging so well at the same moment in time, as you well highlighted, and that's a scary thing to go up against, it feels like, Fan.
Yeah, I mean, you saw their pings beforehand, like I brought up. They knew exactly where eStar were, and they knew exactly what they wanted to do. It's very impressive.
I love the positioning of Schwimpy, too, because it did force people down straight into Dahaka. Dahaka knew exactly who he was going for with that isolation. It was beautiful stuff. Both teams made a lot of the decisions they knew they needed to make. We talked about the Fnatic one after the first Zerg rush. We also saw the top at the end for eStar. They knew the fights they needed to take. Great decision-making from both. But in the end, the globals once again are just too much for eStar to deal with.
That's right. That decision-making puts Fnatic 2-0 up here in this best of 5. We're going to go to a short break. When we are back, we will see if the 3-0 sweep can continue for Sweden or if China can bring it back.
has been my life's work. Through honesty and diplomacy, there is no obstacle. There is no obstacle we can't overcome. Within each of our hearts lies a yearning for peace. Even in this odd place, I truly believe that each of us can find a way to live in harmony. As I was saying, I am Jaina Proudmoore. We don't need to fight, but if you insist, so be it.
The party is alive and well here at DreamHack Summer as we are getting things continuing with the mid-season brawl for Heroes of the Storm Global Championship. And at the moment, 2-0 to Fnatic here going up against eStar Gaming. And right now, eStar Gaming, of course, they're not on the brink of elimination. You do have the potential that you go down to the lower bracket and you have another life if you lose here. But nobody wants to go down to the lower bracket. They want that run through the upper bracket, trying to find themselves a good spot. So where do they start recovering now against a Fnatic that's looking so formidable on home soil?
They really need to retrieve their momentum. They talked about it in the video. If their momentum can be halted, then they start facing serious problems.
Yep.
Fnatic have been playing circles around them with the globals. Not saying the games haven't been close, because they have been insanely close. But the globals have allowed Fnatic to take different opportunities that eStar haven't been able to. They may need to slightly reevaluate their draft strategy and get that momentum back. Once they win one, there's a good chance that they can win 3 in a row, which is exactly what they need to do.
We need more spice. More spice.
With the music that's been playing, I would say Fnatic is even dancing circles around them. We had a little dance party here, but I'm sure that Fnatic is dancing even more so, knowing that they are one game away from the winners finals, Matt.